next we have Artistry Unplugged.
Who you with?
Hey everybody, it's your girl Denise Michelle, and welcome to another episode of Artistry Unplugged. He is an actor, a voice artist, a writer, and director based out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He has had the honor of working with Oprah Winfrey on the animated series Sincerely, Camille. Furthermore, he has shared the screen with Greensboro native and actor Vonnie Bristol in the feature film Making Him Famous. Over the last 2 years, Rodney has spent time building his own production company, No Excuses, Be Great Productions, LLC. And as of now, he's produced 2 short films, an audio series, and 2 podcasts with other projects in the pipeline. He credits his work ethic to his faith in Jesus Christ and the strong support of his family and community. Please give a warm welcome to Rodney W. Williams.
Thank you very much for having me, by the way.
Oh, you're so welcome. We're happy to have you. Let's start with your background. How did you discover your passion for the arts?
Yeah, so I think it's similar for a lot of families or black families. A lot of times, you know, you're a little kid, you're walking around, you're watching TV. For me, it was like Friday, and then my dad would watch a lot of the Jackie Chan movies, Rush Hour, things of that nature. Baby Boy, probably shouldn't have watched Baby Boy, but I like Baby Boy. Boys in the Hood, you know, and you fall in love with these characters. You may not realize that's what it is, but you walk around trying to imitate them in a way, you know. So that was kind of my first dealing in the arts. It was just kind of being at home doing a lot of these characters. I remember being a little boy and going to dress up like Jody.
Oh my goodness! Okay.
So I go get my little shirt and button it up here. I'm 8 years old. I walk outside, down the hall, my little khakis on, my little Chuck Taylors or Cortez or whatever, and I come in mom's room just reciting the lines and stuff like that. And so, you know, it just being a kid and being around film, it kind of opened up that path, and I didn't necessarily know what it was, but that's kind of how I got started. Of course, you know, you have a lot of times you grow up in a church, you have church plays, school opportunities, so on and so forth. You know?
All right. And have you ever taken any type of theatrics in school or anything like that?
I have. Yeah. So actually, when I graduated from college, I went to a college called Montreat College in Black Mountain, North Carolina, by Asheville. I got involved with the arts there a bit. There's an actor by the name of Bryan Cranston. He was the main character in Breaking Bad on AMC back in the day. He came to our school. It turns out that the theater teacher there was very close with them, very best friends. And so, of course, you know, I was in college. I thought that was really cool, having a background, loving film. So I engaged with her, kind of told her what my ideas were, and I kind of got into the arts there, but it really flourished after I graduated. I actually found a program in Winston-Salem called the Actors Group, headed by a gentleman named Burgess Jenkins. He was on Young and the Restless. Oh wow! Remember the Titans? He played Ray.
Yes.
Remember the Titans? He's from Winston.
Okay.
And so I trained under him for quite some time.
All right. Okay. And what is your favorite aspect of the acting process?
Learning more about yourself. It's very freeing. I feel like a lot of times in life, circumstances, whether it's the job or whether it's certain relationships you want to maintain, you start to put on these characters that aren't representations of yourself. When it comes to character, for me, I always try to look at the character through the lens of sympathizing with who they are, you know, and then it informs a lot more about myself. So instead of judging them, I'm looking at the qualities and asking why they would do a thing from the perspective of why
you would do it.
So it informs me as an individual.
Okay, that's good. And what do you believe is the most challenging aspect of being an actor? The most challenging?
The most challenging aspect of being an actor is being free. You know, you feel like you have to go in, and you feel like you have to make this thing happen, but there's a lot of power, especially in film, in being still. You know, feel like you have to do something. Clint Eastwood has this saying. He's like, "Don't just do something. Sit there." And a lot of times it's a lot of power when a person like you're looking right now.
Right.
You're listening. The camera's over my shoulder. It's picking up on the fact that you're listening, and there's so much that's going on behind your eyes. But if this was scripted, you might feel like, well, I'm not doing anything.
Right.
You are.
But I am, right?
Right. And so that's the vehicle. And so when you first get into to not necessarily theater, because theater is a lot more of trying to reach the back of the room, where film is keeping it right here and more intimate. You see what I'm saying? And so when you first start acting, it's just the idea of, hey, I don't have to go do anything. I don't have to go show anything. I just have to be present and understand the moment.
Okay.
So that's the most challenging.
Wow, I've never looked at it like that.
Yeah, it too. Well,
Wow.
It took me a minute.
Yeah.
It took a lot of training.
Do you prefer the stage more so, theatrics, or on film? Which do you prefer more?
Oh, I love theater. I haven't been able to do it in quite some time, but I love theater just for the simple fact of, you get to go on this journey with the audience. A lot of time in film, you can have several takes.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily know what the editor's gonna go with. But it's interesting because I love film as well, because I get to be in the moment with my scene partner. If I know them, it's someone that I can typically, in between scenes, kind of play with ideas with them.
Yeah, that's
take
good.
notes from a director. And we get multiple shots at it. Whereas it's like theater, it's like, you better know it.
You better know it.
Don't get me wrong. In film, you better know it.
Yeah,
because if you're working, by the time you start shooting, you're doing it wrong. You should be freed up enough to just go experience.
Yes. Yes.
But I actually love both of them for separate reasons. I hope that makes sense.
It does. It does. Because I look at like the stage, like it's more like, it seems like it's more engaging because the people are out there and you get to feel the crowd and kind of feed off that and all that.
Feed off the energy. Yep.
The energy. Okay. And what do you think can make a role challenging? Like as far as a role that you may have had in the past or something like that?
Yeah. What makes a role challenging is finding what's not on the page. When you're auditioning, it depends on the project. I mean, you could be going up against anywhere from 500 people to 1,000 people. And so what's interesting was finding what's not on the page, right? So you might be able to looking at a script, and it might be something like, hey, you're having a conversation with your father that you've never met. And then you might find something in the stage direction that's very interesting. Your father puts down his cup and turns it the same way you would typically do it innately. He wears a ring on his pinky. He wears a bracelet on his hand. Your character notices that. Well, what does that inform Rodney? Somebody could look at that and be like, oh, cool, okay, genetics, and he likes it. It's a sweet moment. Yeah, okay. But is it that I'm coming into it and I don't want to be like my father? Or I'm this little boy, I'm this manly man coming into it, but I want to be like my father. I want to get to know this man. This is the aspect of me that's missing. So there's like a plethora of choices I can make based on that circumstance that would set my audition or my interpretation of a character apart. Like, for example, watching Courtney P. Vance in Fences. Back when it was, of course, the play. August Wilson play, versus watching the film iteration of it. You're getting two different versions of the son's character because of what the actors bring into it. It's all their background and their understanding, interpretation, and the things that are not on the page that feed it, and that's the art.
Wow. That's awesome. That is so awesome. What techniques do you use to develop the characters? Or do you have, or did you, when you went to school?
Right.
So
Yeah, so I do, when I first started training, I did what's called Sanford Meisner technique. And that's a lot of just noticing what's going on with your partner. So you may have structures where, or Stanislavski, or the main thing is, in my training, what I would typically do is before I even pick up the script, I would engage with the person kind of like we're doing right here, and I may notice something with them and I may say something like, "Hey, you seem interested," and then they would recite back to me, "I seem interested," and I'd say, "You seem interested," until I notice something else different about them. "Oh, you feel awkward," or "You seem awkward." "Oh, I seem awkward," and then they would notice something about me. So the reason why I do that is because it helps me. It's not about what we're saying; it's about what we're noticing, and even how we say it can change.
True.
Not because we're trying to change it,
Right,
but
because
we're noticing
what
different
you're
things.
noticing.
Right, and so it's for me in the training, the beauty is being able to sit with the person and see what's going on, bump what's going on the page. We got that. That the page is nothing more than a vehicle. It's gonna get us somewhere. It's not gonna tell us where to go.
Right.
Being locked in, understanding what's going on with the other person is what's gonna tell me where to go. In my training, a lot of times what I like to do is I know my objective when I come into the scene. I know what I want, why I want it, what happens if I don't get it. I want to come at it from your perspective. So if I'm coming to you and I say, "Hey, I need $50. I need $50 because this guy's gonna try to kill me if I don't get the $50." Your perspective is, okay, yes, I've come to you before. I know, but I really need it for X, Y, Z. I know I messed up last time. So now I'm coming in already noticing some of this information about you. And instead of me trying to be someone that's hitting a target, I'm realizing that the target is always changing. It's always moving. I come into the room with my own sense of urgency, but I'm also coming into the room ready to receive whatever you give me. And so the target, hopefully what I'm saying makes sense, but the target changes for me coming in with my objective, but me having enough empathy and wherewithal to notice where you're coming from. And so that changes everything. There have been plenty of times where I stepped into a scene with a person, or maybe you've seen on TV someone strong army the scene. They're gonna prove their point.
Right.
And they come in, they see the person, it's like, "Oh, I was coming in mad. Forgot who I was talking to." You see what I'm saying? Okay. You know, and so that's how I like to come into it too. So that's an example of things can change and so on and so forth. So I got a bit of that in my training under Burgess Jenkins. And then I trained with a lady named Cam Monet out of LA.
Okay.
She's worked on several big films. She was in War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I love that movie. And what she taught me in particular was how to deal with procedural shows. So a show where my character may end at the end of the episode. So like a Law and Order. Right?
Okay.
Where you have your typical cast, but then my arc are coming for the episode. My story's over by the end of the episode. So she taught me a lot of, hey, this is how you move with urgency. This is how television moves versus, television moves at a breakneck pace.
Right, quick.
It's quick. Film is a little different. Maybe it's a little bit more melodramatic. And then you have the programs where I'd say, hey, it could be like your typical television show, or you can consider the fact that the character is highly intelligent. So we might have someone like a show like Newsroom, or a movie like The Social Network. The writer on those projects is the same person. So he writes in such a way where he writes very intelligent characters. Very intelligent people tend to not take their time speaking because they're already engaged and they know what they want to say.
Right.
They're listening to get the facts to then respond with their own truth. Right. And so I think in training, it's not like a one way of doing it, but my training has been a bit of Stanislavski, a bit of Sanford Meisner, and then also just understanding how different writers, noteworthy writers, come at their projects to service the project and what the vision entails.
Okay. Are you doing other things besides acting? Are you directing, producing, stuff like that?
I am. I'm glad you asked. So yeah, I acting is something I went after. Directing is something that fell in my lap.
Oh, really?
Right. I say that because a lot of times when you're first starting out, you always hear, you always feel like, whether it's true or not, you feel like you're jockeying for a position, you're jockeying for a role. People come to you and say, "Oh, I hear you're an inspiring actor." And I'm like, well, I don't inspire to do anything. I do it. I don't my 9 to 5. I don't inspire to be a paralegal. I don't inspire to be a deputy clerk. I don't inspire to be a police officer. Either I am or I am, or I'm not. Right?
Or you're not. Right.
Right. And so for me as an actor, I am. But I realized I needed to get more involved in being in control of my destiny. You know what I mean? So what I wanted to do was be someone that could write his own stories, someone that knew what it took to develop characters, and someone that was willing to also play with their friends. I had friends that felt the same way, but perhaps didn't have the same drive to be a director or to be a writer. And so I brought them on. We started making our own projects. I actually have a film right now called The Fighter, the Demon, the Waterfall, which is a film that follows a boxer named Deontay Ray.
Yes, I saw a little clip of that.
Yes. So, you know, here's the thing about it, and I hope I'm not, if I'm getting ahead of the game, please let me know.
No, go for it.
But I realized being a director made me a better actor.
Really?
Right.
Do tell.
Because as a director, directing, you like an actor, you let the moment be what it is. But then you also understand that there are certain aspects that have to be there. You also understand that there are certain shots that have to be established. You also understand urgency. So as an actor, when I step away from directing my own project, as a director, when I step away from directing my own project and I step into being an actor, I'm mindful of these things. So if we're getting your coverage, my performance doesn't change, but if it's an emotional scene for me, I'm not going as hard as if it was on me as well.
Right.
Because what's the point of using all that up if it's just your cover? I'm gonna give you what you need to do your job. Of course, I wouldn't cut you off from doing that. But at the same time, what's the point of me going super hard if it's not servicing the project in its entirety? So that's helped me a bit, kind of think about that, understanding what framing we're in. So a lot of times I'll listen to a crew and they say, hey, we're gonna move in, get a tight Dutch. Well, I already know from being a director, I already know, okay, so that means that they're wanting to invoke some sense of unease. Okay, boom. I know where I need to be emotionally.
Yes.
So service that as an actor so that the DP and the powers that be can get the shot that they're looking for.
There's some perks there, boy. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you can learn these things just being an actor, but I feel like just starting in 2017 and it being 2024, it's kind of accelerated me a bit.
That's great. What do you prefer more so, or both of them hand in hand as far as directing and acting? Which one do you prefer?
Recently, I really love directing.
Really?
I really love, because, and here's why, because I get to watch other actors go on a journey and take the ride with them. Right? I get to watch a scene and I can step in and give the note I wish somebody would have given me as an actor.
Right.
Like if there's a highly emotional scene, like we'll just scenario based here. A woman catches her husband in a lie. He's never lied to her before, but the lie was really to protect her, but he feels bad that he had to lie. If I feel like that's not being conveyed in the scene, I'm not gonna necessarily walk up and tell the actor, hey, no, it's this, and this. I'm gonna go up and say, you've never lied to her before. This is your first time. You feel bad about it. You thought you were protecting her. That's the note. I walk away. I go back behind the camera. Action. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Because your mind, if you're an actor that's worth your salt, you're already thinking about these things. You're already thinking about what no one else is thinking about.
Right, exactly. That makes sense.
But sometimes it's that thought that a director can give that can prime you. That gets you going in that new direction where it's like, oh, yeah, actually, based on what I've built, let me try something different. And then it changes or revolutionizes the scene. If you're willing to go down that path, right?
Yeah.
So I've been loving that journey because I get to see friends and new people I work with take that journey. But I've been loving it more for that reason. But there's something about being in front of that camera and going on a ride with someone else. You know,
wow.
That's incredible in and of itself.
So when you do the acting, what is the experience as far as like when you're auditioning? Like, and then you don't get it. How do you accept the rejection? How do you go through that phase?
Oh, it's been tough. It's been, and here's why it's been tough. Because I'm sure there's some actors or people that are interested in acting that are going to be watching this. It's tough when you feel like you're being rejected. You know, I've been up for several things, several Tyler Perry projects that I've seen come out and be incredible. I have a friend that was in Divorce in the Black. I was supposed to be in Divorce in the Black. You know, and so I had some friends that, I mean, all that doesn't matter. But the point is, the rejection can be tough. But you realize something. There are agents throughout the Southeast where we are, throughout LA, New York, all over, that are submitting actors with their reels to these casting directors. Because it goes to the casting director.
That's good.
But the gift is this. You got the audition. Maybe 5,000 actors were submitted, and they only chose 500 based on their reels. You were one of the actors chosen. The job is the audition. It's their thing. You were coming in with your interpretation. So when I realized that, it made the rejection, it sucks, especially if it's a project. You get something, you see, oh wow, Denzel's on this thing, Geno Seegers is on this thing.
There you go.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? You see these people are attached to these projects, and you're like, man, like I would like to work with these individuals, right? It sucks, but then you realize, hey, my interpretation of the character is not any less. It just doesn't fit the vision of what they have, and that's okay. Because guess what? You got to come play. Somebody of importance got to see what you do.
That's right. Absolutely.
I won't say names, but I have a friend who, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind me telling a story. He auditioned for a project, didn't get it, and then finally got the opportunity to go do something with a prominent individual. And she asked him, she said, do you know why you're here? And he said, well, because you like my audition.
Yes.
She said, no, I've seen plenty of your auditions. That's why you're here. So the gift is this. A casting director, we'll say someone like Erica Arvald or Raven Drummer, who's cast a lot of Tyler Perry's projects. If Erica Arvald or Raven Drummer keeps auditioning you, they like you. Be thankful for that. If it stops, don't be discouraged, because it could stop for any reason. But what I'm saying is, if it keeps happening, you're doing something right. You may just not fit what they're looking to bring to life, and that's okay.
Yes, okay. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
All right, and we'll be right back with you after this message.
I think that you should think before you speak.
I really don't need this right now. I don't.
No, you need to show some accountability.
I need to show some accountability. I need to show some accountability.
That's what I said.
No, I need you to be in my corner, babe. That's what I need. I need for you to be in my corner, okay? Look, when I come home, I just want peace, okay? I don't have to fight you like I fight everybody else.
Typical.
What's typical? No, tell me, what's typical? Please.
Say it. What's typical is you always find a way to make yourself the fucking victim. That's what's typical.
There's no one that acts like the victim, okay? You're acting like everybody else.
Excuse me? I'm acting like everybody else.
Yeah, you're acting
Okay,
like everybody else.
Well, what does that mean?
It means you're judging me.
Do you hear yourself right now? Do you hear yourself right now? I feel everything that you go through. Everything. I can't even go to the fucking grocery store anymore without someone recognizing me for your mistakes. Your mistakes, not mine. So don't tell me that I'm acting like everybody fucking else.
What do you want me to say? Look, I know I'm not winning Husband of the Year. I get that. But babe, I can't allow anyone to take away my freedom of speech. That's way too important. Sorry.
Hey, welcome back to Artistry Unplugged. I'm your host, Denise Michelle. I'm sitting here with Mr. Rodney W. Williams, and we are now at a point where we're going to be discussing the intensity of a role, the emotional part of it. How do you prepare for something like that? How do you handle scenes like that?
Yeah, so let me just, for all my young actors, that's the part that can induce the most anxiety, make you feel like you have to go do something. But that's also where the fun actually lies, if you let it be fun, right?
Yes.
That's up to the world building. That's where you get to bring yourself into it, right? That's where you get to bring your experience and the things that have happened. And for me, being a black man, a lot of times growing up, there were things that you couldn't say, you know? And this is the time to now give voice to that through the lens of the character. And so I say if you're willing to be free in that makes doing the harder work, the more intense scenes, easier. It's still hard work. No, I don't even want to say make it easy. It makes it easier. It makes it more relatable. It makes it more palpable. It makes you feel closer to the content instead of thinking about what you have to go do. You start to think about what you get to share. That's all you're doing. You're sharing. You're sharing your interpretation. You know, am I answering that question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I just want to make sure. I want to make sure. Yeah.
I just
it helps with the world building. It helps with the world building.
Right.
It helps with you establishing relationships. It helps with, say, like maybe the person in the scene is my wife. And she's saying some things that are really jabbing me.
Yes.
Translate that. Real life experience. I'm an 8-year-old boy. A person that I trust from my childhood is telling me about myself. And I've been able to shove that down into my manhood. And I got big muscles and I got this, that going on. And you say something to reduce me to a small child as my wife in the movie.
Yes.
But somebody did that to me when I was 8.
Wow.
Now I get to use that.
You get to use that.
But also get therapy. Don't use stuff if you're not ready to use it.
Absolutely.
I've had acquaintances that have used people in movies, for example, just to not to keep going on, but just to answer that, that have used people that have passed away in real life. And I think if you're in a place where you're healed and you grieved enough and you're able to use that, I think that's beautiful. But if you have something that's truly tragic, please get therapy. Don't get therapy. Forget acting, get therapy.
Thank you. Okay, and what role would you like to play that you haven't played yet?
Oh wow, there are so many. One of the most I have two main ones. I have an obsession with mafia culture, and I would love to have the honor of playing someone that was connected to Frank Lucas or either Bumpy Johnson.
Really?
And have the ability to play someone that's an associate to the mafia. A lot of times black people weren't allowed to be made men, but a lot of them became associates until they made their own organizations, right? And so I think it would be interesting to play a character that lives and breathes in that world, and is yet very intelligent, and is just as brutal as he is intelligent. Another role that I would love, more specifically, in an established cinematic universe, there's a character named Aaron Davis, also known as the Prowler in the Spider-Man series. And he's Miles Morales. I don't know how familiar you are with Spider-Man, but Miles Morales is the black Spider-Man. He's his uncle.
Oh.
And me growing up, I read a lot of comics. I was a nerd. And he's had several film iterations, one of which was voiced by Mahershala Ali. The one thing I love about that character in particular is that he embodies what I see a lot of in black men, a lot of black fathers. I made a lot of mistakes, but now I get to be a hero to someone, you know? And that's what I love about that character. There's so much that goes unsaid about that character, and those are the things I would like to bring to life in that character. Now, he's got a small character arc in Marvel Comics, relatively, but I think that's an incredibly rich character that I would love to get my own spin to. One more that I would like to play is I would love to be in a movie like Rocky or Creed.
Why?
Because there's something. I mean, I don't look like it now, but I used to be almost 210 pounds.
What?
I was a college athlete. I was a college athlete. There is something about not just taking your mind into what it is to be a character, but taking your body into what it is to be a character. And I just, there was something so rich about Jonathan Majors' performance as Damian Anderson in Creed 3, and the things that I'd heard about how he built that character, even how he brought so much to life in the trailer. And it was just all there, you know.
Yes.
I would love to have the honor of being able to share my interpretation of character and someone that was down but like rose to power.
Yes.
You know, I think there's something so rich about that, you know. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Maybe you will.
Hey, I'm prayerful.
And what would you do if you couldn't act anymore? What would you do? What would you go into?
Well, what would I go into if I couldn't act? Nothing's ever going to stop me from acting.
Okay.
Nothing's ever going to stop me from acting. Simply because, I mean, a lot of times people think acting and think, I get to be on stage or I get to be in front of the film. You can act anytime. You know, you might run a class. You know, you might be an instructor or something like that.
True.
So, but for the sake of the question, I understand the question.
Thank
Not
you.
to be difficult. Not to be difficult.
Don't be difficult.
But for the sake of the question, I would probably be a therapist.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, I love getting to see people thrive when they have a healthy mental health, or a healthy lifestyle. There's so many people that I know in life that they're struggling with so much because they're 50, 60, 70 years old.
Yeah.
And they're going through what that 5-year-old version of them went through. They never had a chance to heal. And the people that hurt them, they moved on.
Yep.
They moved on, they had a good life, and they've gone on about their business. But there's something so rich about not fixing someone, because I think that's the stigma in the black community is somebody trying to fix you.
Yeah.
It's not about fixing you, it's about helping you understand aspects of yourself and aspects of your lineage or your family that you never really gave credence to or didn't even know were there because it was just so ingrained in you. And then figuring out who you really want to be, you know, or how to be a healthier version of yourself for future generations. So I would love to do something like that if I could act.
If you could act, okay. All right, and what has been your favorite projects thus far that you've done?
Favorite projects thus far. Sincerely Camille was really cool. You know, it was the first voiceover job that I'd done.
Voiceover, yeah.
It's the first voiceover job that I'd done. Being able to work with like some heavy hitters in the industry, that was really cool. But also just getting to dive into a rich character was really nice. The character's name is Brian Moore, he's an attorney. And then just knowing that Oprah Winfrey got to see me work, that was a gift.
That's
in and of itself.
awesome,
It's
right?
one of those things where you realize, just on the journey, be prepared. Because I didn't really, I mean, when I got it, it said own network. I mean, own
Oprah
Winfrey Network. But I didn't really think about it. I just kind of put the audition down and I sent it in. It wasn't until the day of recording, they were like, yeah, so how does it feel to be working for Oprah Winfrey? And I was like, wait, what? You know? And so it's just realizing the work is the work. Just go do the job.
Just do the job.
One more, I did a movie called, it was a while ago, Sugar Brown. Actually, that's on the rail.
Yes.
The do-rag? Yeah.
Yes.
That was a very incredible story. I got to work with a incredible director, Clark Phillips. She went to school, North Carolina School of Arts, and it was her senior thesis. And so I had a great time working with her as a story she wrote. The actress opposite of me was Bailey James, incredible actress. I believe she's doing theater in New York right now with the company. And so just being able to work with young black talent and see that these are young ladies that are going places. And then also just being able to do a character that I'd never done. You know?
Exactly.
That was really rich for me. Typically, when I get auditions, it's the doctor, the lawyer, the detective, which is fine. Look, and here's the thing. Side note, if you don't mind,
Mm-hmm.
if you're an actor, you're gonna read a certain way. It's your job that when those auditions come, that you're masterful with them. So somebody hands me a role for a doctor, somebody hands me a role for law enforcement, so on and so forth. I'm gonna master it. But also, I'm gonna show that I can step outside of that realm as well. And that's what this film was an opportunity to do. You know, I got to play a gentleman that he was down on his luck, and for sake of not giving the story away, because I get the film to you later, but for sake of not giving the story away, he wanted life to be different for his unborn child. And he knew that the mother of his child wasn't going to let that be the case.
What?
Because he thought that if this child comes of age and is like me, then he's already lost. But the mom had a different outlook, right? And so I never really got to do anything like that through the lens of that kind of person. And for that reason, it was very rich, very fun.
That's awesome. That's good. Okay. How have you ever had to play a character with drastically different values than your own? And how did you approach that?
Yes, I actually played in a movie. The second movie I ever done was a short film called Lizard. And specifically about a gentleman who was a sex trafficker, or pimp, sex trafficker. And so I didn't want to come in it as I'm a pimp, I'm a sex trafficker. The way I came at it was, he's a very broken person, but he understands the game, he understands business, and he understands that to a certain extent, fear is power. There's a person that grew up and he had no power. Now you drop me into a world where I can not just survive but thrive, take care of people, sure, that I care about, but I get to have power. That's a drug in and of itself. I give you whatever drug you want, but this is one I have to offer. So when you understand that, you can go play that character. When you understand that it's not about the activity but the power, that's what helps you thrive.
That's good. Okay, and what's next for you as far as projects? What are you going to be diving into?
Yeah, so I have a movie that's, the release date as of right now is December 20th. It's a movie called The Last Gentle Wind of Autumn. Follows a love story from the beginning of their wedding vows all the way through to the end of their marriage. And then there's, so that film should come out on the 20th.
Of this month?
Of this month.
Okay.
This month, December 20th, 2024. And then we're working on a web series in regards to that. That goes more in depth with the concepts behind the show. Then I'm preparing to do a feature film, as right now it's called Manhood. So it's like man, quotation, in the hood, which follows 3 different gentlemen in the same town over the course of their life. So all that, it'll be very interesting to see kind of how it comes together. One of the things that inspired me with that project, without giving too much away, is I went back and watched Boys in the Hood. And, you know, I watched the movie several times throughout my childhood, but it's interesting at different phases in my life, I realized just what John Singleton was on to and why that movie really was prolific for the time period. There are plenty of hood movies.
Yes.
But there was a reason why that movie was what it was. I mean, every character had a reason for being who they were, right? Even down to the coach, the college recruiter coming to the house to talk to Ricky.
Yes.
He was like, hey, you know, maybe you don't go to the league. You need to start thinking about what it is you want to do. That's a bar in and of itself. To the friend who's standing outside when the recruiter leaves, said, hey man, I used to play baseball back in the day. I get one of them scholarships, man, something like that. It was, you look at it, it's like, it's someone that's aware that his friend is going somewhere. Maybe you know, I can get in on it too a little bit, but I'm not necessarily serious about my future. So I love stuff like that. That was a long way of talking about film, I'm sorry. But
no, you're good.
I love stuff like that because it informs me as a filmmaker. It helps me to think about what it is I really want to say in my films, you know? And so that's kind of what's inspired this new film that I'm working on. I wouldn't say it's like a hood movie or anything like that, but it's the concepts behind it that I think are beautiful and will beautifully come to life, I hope. So that's going to be a feature film, and we will start funding for that and then start going to networks and see what we can make happen.
This will be your film?
This will be my film.
Okay.
Yeah, first
That
feature
sounds
film.
Great. Okay. And let me ask you, I wanted to ask you this because I've heard Eddie Griffith talk about it and Cat Williams. What do you think about black actors that wear dresses? And do you think it plays into stereotypes for black men? Like put them down in any kind of way when they do that? Or would you even wear a dress?
Well, to be honest with you, personally, I think, here's the thing. It's a bit of a loaded question because people take things and they run it through the same lens, or they run it through the same down the same conveyor belt. It's not the same thing. What was the character? What was the circumstance? Were they always planning to be that way? Does it actually make sense? To each his own. For me personally, that is not something that I wish to do.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I have my own reasons for that. You know, but again, what is the character? What is the reasoning? Is it actually a dress? What is the cultural aspect behind it? These are all things we have to take into consideration. But also, I think a lot of people harp on the black man doing it.
Yeah.
A lot of white actors that do it.
Right. Right. That's true.
So, what is it specifically, you know, that is said behind closed doors? In addition to that, what's said behind closed doors? You're gonna make more money if you put this dress on. To me, it's all about what price are you willing to pay, because you're always gonna pay a price.
Yes.
You will pay a price.
Yes.
What price are you willing to pay? Who do you want to be? How do you want to be remembered? I always think to myself, and I heard Sidney Poitier say something similar. You will be remembered for who you are. You also be remembered for who you aren't. So,
wow.
Is that something that you want to put out there? Is there something in your family background or your own religious affiliations or your own self-worth or standards that you don't want to portray? It's up to each person. Again, personally for me, not something I would want to do at all. But we need to have a fine-tuned conversation of what specifically is going on. But here's the thing: that's not just for a dress; that's for anything.
Right.
What is the character? What are we talking about? Am I a good fit? Forget a dollar sign. I need to know what we're talking about because this is going to live forever. This is something my children are going to see. Is it how I want to be remembered? That's the question. How do you want to be remembered?
Okay. Well, you heard it right here. We have Mr. Rodney W. Williams here, and thank you so much for coming by and giving us some time.
Absolutely.
And
thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I have one last question to ask you. If you had a superpower, what would it be and why?
That is a great question. It's funny you said that. I actually thought about that a few days ago. If I had a superpower, it would probably be time travel.
Oh my goodness.
Time travel. Because here's the thing. I'm getting to an age now where people that I love dearly have passed on, or they're getting older, and they're getting to the age where they're forgetting things, but they're trying to convince me that, oh, I just got a lot going on. No, it's okay. The shift is happening where it's my turn to be the responsible individual. And all I have, the only commodity I have right now, time. So I have to use it wisely. But if I can slow it down and reverse it, I will go back and spend time with that person just a little longer. You know, I saw a post and this little girl was eating with her grandfather and she was playing a little game, a little handheld game. And he was just sitting there. He finished his meal, was just watching her. And the caption said, for her, this is life. She doesn't realize she's on the timetable. And so for that reason alone, but I feel like it's a gift. And then also, you know, that being said, that's one of the concepts I play with my new movie that's coming out on the 20th, the last wind of autumn. So you can see more about that at that time. So but that's in short to answer the question. That's why.
Okay. And if anybody want to see any of your film, where they need to go, platforms, anywhere they can.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're on YouTube. One of the best ways to get to that would probably be going to my Instagram page. Is No Excuses Be Great Productions. No Excuses Be Great Productions. If you go in there, you just click the link in the bio. That'll take you directly to the YouTube channel. From there, you can see my past, present projects, and also what I have coming down the pipeline as well.
Okay. Well, thank you so very much, and we will see you next time. And don't forget to like and subscribe.